I was in the darkness. I was in a really dark place. I became addicted to pain pills. I still was having trouble sleeping. It was just a very, very difficult time for me. And then at one point during this dark time, I had this idea, if you will, or out of curiosity. I said, I'm gonna write down everything that I'm taking. So I wrote down one night and I wrote everything down. And the next day, I said, okay, while I was still sober, I'm gonna read this list. And as I read this list, it was Oxy and Vicodin and Percocet and half a bottle of wine, more Vicodin, more Percocet, NyQuil. And as I read this list, I remember looking at it and I thought, man, if my mom read this list, if someone close to me read this list, they would think I was trying to kill myself. So it's kind of in that moment, that instant, that was the impetus or the beginning of my change, the beginning of my journey.
Hello, EA. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, EA, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, EA, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, yeah, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, EA, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, EA, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, EA. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing EA that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions. EA, this stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things EA is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we had a day with the amazing EA. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man. Beautiful. So let's get started. You see, EA, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. You see, I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, EA, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness, ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible EA on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality eye-opening and very important information, of which I am totally convinced here that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how EA got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, EA, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for those kind words, and I appreciate it. And I like the way you said about coming out of the darkness, right? That's very important. And one of the reasons I like to talk to people is that I was in the darkness. That's where I was in. And, growing up, I had some traumas in my childhood, some sexual abuse as a kid, physical abuse that I had to deal with, and all of those things that happened in my youth, they affected me as I became an adult. So I had very extreme anxiety as I became an adult, and that anxiety then turned into insomnia, meaning like I couldn't sleep. So I was having all these thoughts and didn't know how to process a lot of the information that I had going on in my head. And because of that, that was made me anxious. Then I had insomnia. So when I couldn't sleep, like most people, I try to find ways in which that I help me to sleep, right? How can I do this? Because I'm up and my mind is churning and going crazy. So the first thing that I turned to was alcohol. Let me get a drink, maybe a drink at night that might help me to relax, to feel better. Did that for a little while, didn't really work. So the next thing I ended up turning into pain pills. So I was taking pain pills and all the ones that are out there, the Oxy and Vicodin and Percocet and you name it, I took it. And what happened by doing this over and over again, I ended up becoming addicted to pain pills. So I was in the darkness. I was in a really dark place. I became addicted to pain pills. I still was having trouble sleeping. It was just a very, very difficult time for me. And then at one point during this dark time, I had this idea, if you will, and I had this idea. You know what? I'm just going to write down everything that I'm taking, more out of curiosity because I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. And I said, I'm going to write down everything that I'm taking. So I wrote down one night and I wrote everything down. And the next day, I said, okay, while I was still sober, I'm going to read this list. And as I read this list, and it was Oxy and Vicodin and Percocet and half a bottle of wine, more Vicodin, more Percocet, NyQuil, and as I read this list, I remember looking at it and I thought, man, I was not suicidal. I was not trying to kill myself. I said, if my mom read this list, if someone close to me read this list, they would think I was trying to kill myself. So it's kind of in that moment, that instant, that was the impetus or the beginning of my change, the beginning of my journey. At that point, like I said, I was in the darkness. I was alone. I was by myself, but I knew that wasn't where I needed to be. So that shift, that mind shift began. That was the start of my journey from going to, barely making minimum wage, having my lights turned off for non-payment, having internet turned off for non-payment, to now becoming, an award-winning pharmaceutical rep, a motivational speaker, loving father, loving husband. That was kind of the start of that change. And then once I finally started that change, I started to realize a couple things when I started that journey. And I realized that people vibrate at different frequencies, right? People all have these vibrations. And I realized that when you have feelings of happiness and joy and passion, that you operate at a high vibration. And when you have feelings of anger and sorrow and mistrust, you operate at a low vibration. And I realized that successful people vibrate at different frequencies than people that are non-successful. So as I was realizing these things, I started realizing, man, success is a vibe. We say that coffee is a vibe and yoga is a vibe and all these things are a vibe right now. I realized success is a vibe. And it was the success vibe system that helped me to get from where I was to where I am now. And when I talk about my success vibe, my vibe is an acronym and it stands for vision, intention, belief, and execution. So when you have all four of those, you can really have a lifetime of success. And it was my success vibe system that when I was in the dark, that I realized these things. And that was what helped me to get out of the dark and to come to where I am today.
Amazing. Yeah. And thank you so very much for, coming out to share your story. Because some people might be actually stuck in the situation you came out of. And people like that getting to hear this your very inspiring story, just the way you had that mind shift that became the catalyst for your transformation through our conversation, something might also shift within them mentally, and the um that will mark the beginning of their transformation. So the fact that you're sharing your story, nah, I love that, and thank you so very much. And I got that success vibe. Let's see if I can still remember that: vision, intention, belief, and execution. I got it.
You got it. You got it. You got it. You passed the test.
You passed the test. Amazing, man. And thank you so very much. You see, I truly appreciate what you're doing. So I've got some questions here, okay? So I want you to talk to us more about those dark periods. How did you manage your anxiety and sleepless nights? I know you mentioned using pain pills and all of these things. Can you talk to us more about that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, so when I was in that dark time, and like I said, I was searching for answers, trying to find solutions. I knew the problem. The problem was the anxiety. The problem was I couldn't sleep. What I hadn't got to yet is what was the root of that problem? Right? What was the root cause that was helping me not sleep? It wasn't just that I was getting in bed and couldn't sleep. It's because I had all these unresolved issues that I had not dealt with. And what I realized was that uh, another big part of me being in this darkness and having this anxiety is because I didn't know what I wanted out of life. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know who I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to accomplish. I had no vision. I had no vision of what I wanted. So when you have no vision, it's like getting in your car and not putting anything in the navigation or not putting a destination in the GPS. You're just driving around aimlessly, right? You have to have a destination of where it is you're trying to go, and that vision is what guides you. Because once you have the vision of where you want to go, it then helps you to say no to the things that are going to derail you and keep you off course. So it's very important to have that vision. So, like I said, being in that dark place, I didn't have that. So I was just like a boat without a rudder, right? Just going aimlessly. When I didn't have a vision, and I was dealing with taking the pain pills and drinking too much and all those things, that just creates a real dark cloud. And it's like you're constantly walking under that dark cloud. No matter where you go, the sun can't shine, because you're not in a place to really receive the light, right? You're in the darkness and you're not able to receive. You're definitely not emitting, so you're definitely not helping people as well. So it's really about the clarity of situation and really getting that vision of what you want to help you to begin to climb out of that darkness.
I got that. I got that vision. Very, very important. So what is one thing people misunderstand about recovery?
Yeah, one thing they may not understand about recovery is that it's not even day to day; it's minute by minute. And I think when we're in these dark places, we tend to say, okay, you know, what are we going to do tomorrow, next week, in a month? But when you're in that really dark place, when you have these traumas or these things that have happened to you, and you really feel like you're stuck and you feel like you can't move. I know for myself, when trying to get off the pain pills and trying to get off of those things, I literally had to say, okay, I know, it comes a time where your body, you're addicted, so you're feeling like, all right, I gotta have this right now, right now, right now. And I just said to myself, we can just hold off one more minute, like one more minute. Let's see if we can go one more minute without, having taking a pill. And then that 1 minute turned into 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and slowly but surely, I was able to build that up. So then what happens when you can push it off 1 minute and another minute and another minute, those little things, those little wins are very important. because now you have something to grasp hold of, meaning I can do this. I can have one more minute of success. I can add 2 more minutes of success. So we have to celebrate those wins. And I think in general, especially when we're in dark places, we don't celebrate the small wins, the micro wins, because those small wins, then those lead to a tidal wave of success. But you have to get one win at a time.
One win at a time. And we've got to take it minute by minute. Wow, I got that. So we have two more to go. So, what advice would you give to someone still carrying childhood pain?
Yeah. So then the thing is, carrying that pain, when you're carrying that weight, it's so hard. And like I said, I've been there, and I sympathize with people that have been in that situation. Um, but you have to, first of all, you have to have mindfulness. I'm a big believer in mindfulness, and mindfulness can be in a number of different ways. I know people talk about meditation. I know me for myself, I'm not really good at sitting cross-legged with my hands up in the Shavasana pose, but you have to find a place where you can get mindfulness. So for me, taking walks in nature really helps to clear my mind, because you have to get to a point where you're in the present. And I think in general, you have to live in the present. Your traumas happen, and it's terrible. And some of people have had horrible, horrible traumas. So we're not trying to dismiss the trauma. We have to put it in its proper place. So that is in the past. Your future is still ahead. So you still are the author of your own story. So you can still create a lifetime of happiness, right? But you have to start today and disassociate yourself from what happened and say, that's in the past, but right now, I am strong. I have the great gifts that were given to me by my creator. There's great things that I was put here to do that I still can do. So let's look at today and stay in the present, and then look towards the future. Because when there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. So we have to make sure we put our traumas in the past. Don't say they didn't happen. I'm not trying to say they didn't happen. Let's see, what can we now do in the present and moving towards the future.
These are beautiful words, EA. When there is hope in the future, there is power in the present. Wow. I got that, man, and that's a beautiful one. Wow. How do you come up with these beautiful stars? I tell you, this is really amazing. Well,
Yeah,
thank you once
I
again, man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So we've got one more. All right. So, what daily habits keep your mind calm and focused?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. And I share this with people all the time, is I think that it's very, very important to have daily routines, daily rituals, daily habits that keep you on track. Certain things that you do every day that, regardless of your emotional state, regardless of how you feel, regardless if you're sick, got in an argument with someone, there's certain things that keep you grounded and keep you disciplined. So for me, my morning rituals is every single morning, as soon as I wake up, the first thing I do is I get in my Bible and I read the Bible. That's my first thing upon waking. I get in the Bible, I read my Bible. Then next thing I do is have a list of affirmations. I say my affirmations of what I want the universe to provide, what I want for myself, how I can help people. But I say those list of affirmations, some positive affirmations to myself as well, so I can get positive self-talk for myself first thing in the morning. I say the positive affirmations. Then I send out motivational texts to some friends and family. That way I'm giving, right in the beginning, I'm giving my energy. I'm giving people energy, some positive vibes. So I'm putting those out into the universe first thing in the morning on creating that positive energy. I also journal, writing down what I'm grateful for, what has happened. I think connecting with gratitude also first thing in the morning helps you change your mindset as you enter into the day. So having that gratitude journal first thing in the morning. And then last thing I do, might be a little crazy, but I take a cold shower every morning. So I get in the ice cold shower. And that just really helps to reset my mind first thing in the morning. And it also tells me that, I'm doing something hard first thing in the morning, and I'm doing it to myself. So as the world brings these problems and issues to me, I've already done something hard first thing in the morning. So to kind of reiterate, so by getting into the Bible first thing, saying positive affirmations, positive self talk to myself, sending out positive motivational quotes, of putting positive energy into the universe, having a gratitude journal, writing down what I'm grateful, and then getting in that cold shower. That morning routine sets me up for success. Like I was not doing any of that, when I was in these dark places. But now every morning, I know after that's done, it's almost like a downhill from there, right? There's a lot of things that we have to do and I have to accomplish. But I've done the hard stuff and the great stuff first. So my mind, body, and spirit have all been positively affected right upon waking. So that sets me up for a great day.
Your mind, body, and spirit. Wow, that's a beautiful one because you're not just feeding your body, you're also feeding your spirit the word of God first thing in the morning. I love that. That's a smart one, my man. So finally, Ihe, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to reach out to you, let them know about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions. How can that be possible?
Yeah, no, I just want to leave people with is that, I've had some very difficult times in my life. Um, but it all started with that vision. Make sure you have a vision of what it is you're looking for. Get around those people, whatever your vision is, whatever you want to become, you can definitely do it, but you got to believe you can do it, right? You got to have a vision. You got to have the intention, the plan of how you're going to get there. You have to believe you're going to do it. If you don't believe you're going to do it, it's not going to happen. And then you have to be able to execute. So we do those things, you'll be able to take your life to another level. I'm someone who did it. When I was in that place, who would have known where I am today? No one would have thought that. But it takes just a daily practice, go day by day by day. And where people can connect with me, you can go to my website, which is eajohnsonspeaks.com. You can go to my Instagram. It's just EA Johnson Speaks. And if you want to get a hold of me or send me an email, it's just info@eajohnsonspeaks.com. So I'd love to hear from anyone that would love to hear more about this. I do speaking, I do coaching and trainings, and I would love to help out your listeners because I think you're a great person and have a great soul. So people that are listening to you are definitely people that I would want to connect with.
Beautiful, my man, and I love that. So that's gonna be the end of the show. EA, thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.